Okay, well, it's Saturday, the 4th, and we're back here to show you a little progress update. As you can see, we have made a noticeable amount of progress getting this thing apart. Got the front clip off in pieces. I was thinking I was going to take it off as a unit, but when we got into it, it appeared as though that was not the best way to do it. So there's the hood up there. Fenders are both up there, see? And there's some, over the top of this door opening, there's another shelf, and a lot of the front clip, the inner parts of the front clip are up there. Fender wells and the pan that goes in the front, behind the grill, and all that stuff is up there. So yeah, we've made a considerable amount of progress, and since then, I started making a fixture that I'm going to use when they pull this motor and transmission. I want to leave it together, the motor and the transmission together as a unit. So I'm making a fixture that I can use to roll that around, to put the motor and transmission on as a unit and be able to roll it around. And the parts of that are fabricated over here. My son's the welder, I'm not. So typically the way this works is I fabricate the stuff and then he comes over and welds it. So that's the piece that will go on the back where the transmission mount is on the Turbo 350. That will bolt up to that location with the two casters underneath it. And the other piece, let me show you the other piece. Right now I've got it inside this pit area where I'm using a bare block to mock up the pieces. This area you see is a crawl space area that I have dug out after a big remodel in 1985, and I use it here. This is, I'll say we call it the pit, but it's kind of my warehouse for tools and materials, construction materials, all kinds of stuff, plumbing, you know, all that good stuff. So you see there's a lot of stuff in here. I made homemade wine a couple of times. Didn't have barrels or the room for barrels, so I used these demijohn things. And this is obviously a stash for some of our automotive stuff as well. So like I said, it's a multi-purpose area, but all for storage. So anyway, what I'm doing here is using one of these blocks to make the front piece of that roll-around dolly. So you see I'm going to mount the iron pieces here on the front mounts, the front mount locations of the block, and then the casters will go below that. So right now this is all set up. This piece, and this piece are permanent. The other piece is just to hold it together so it doesn't move when I take it off the block, you know, before it gets welded. I wouldn't want to weld it and then have it not fit. So anyway, that's that part. And then the other piece that I made that's fabricated and waiting to be welded is a piece that we can use to move the car around. Since we've took the suspension off of it, obviously it's a little hard to move now. So I fabricated a piece. You see these two big holes in the front cross member? I fabricated a piece that will mount here in the where the cup goes on the jack, on the floor jack. You see there's about a 1-inch hole there. So I made a piece that will mount on the jack. See that stud there will go through, that pipe there will go through that hole in the jack. The tubing sits on top of that where the cup would be, and then these two pipes go up through those two holes in the cross member. So it keys the jack to the front cross member. So now you can pull the jack around and use it like front wheels and move the chassis around. I mean, obviously you couldn't roll it through rocks and stuff like that, but on, you know, concrete and stuff, it works fine. We had one of these when my son was 14 and had his first car, because the same thing happened to that. The front suspension got taken off of it. But anyway, that's fabricated. There's the casters that will go under that other fixture, the front of that roll around dolly thing. I had I had to tune those up too. They were used casters from where I used to work. They had bought them to roll some tanks around and they were not adequate, so they got replaced and I glommed them. But anyway, that's where we're at. Hopefully tomorrow my son will come over and weld this stuff together, and then we'll go from there. See you later. Bye. So there's those two all welded. Will definitely do the job. Okay. I tried it on the motor in the pit there, and it fits perfect. So, like I say, it will definitely do the job. Okay, so here's how this is going to work.
Yeah, you might have to rattle.
Whoop. Just like that, and then you can tow it around.
We really need to check this frame for cracks, because every time we lift up the front, it makes up some slack. And
Yes, it does. It bows a lot. I mean, the door gap changes when you lift it from the front, or the front and the back.
Yeah, we gotta check.
Yeah, I know.
We get the motor out. We'll see.
All right, so anyway, that's, like I said, that's how this fixture thing works. Bye.